What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Of course, today I have another update video for you guys on my Accord. This is my 2016 Honda Accord Coupe V6 6-speed that I've had for about a year and a half now, and I just did a video on it a couple of months ago, but I have been hard at work fixing the things that were wrong with it in the last video. So we're going to go over those today and a couple of other things that I actually did to the car in the meantime. So of course, if you watched my last video, you will know that I was having some issues with the paint on this car. It was in an accident long before I owned it, but basically I was having some issues with the fender peeling, this right front fender right here. I had some peeling issues right on the front here, and then of course back here it just started kind of peeling off in sheets, and so, you know, wasn't too happy about that, but you know, I was complaining about it quite a bit in the video, and I was just kind of living with it for a while, but it just kept getting worse. And so the day after I actually made the last update video, I said, you know what, screw it, I'm taking this car to the body shop and we're gonna have this fixed. So I took it to a local body shop in my area, and you know, it was one that my dad has taken his truck to before, so I had seen their work, so I was comfortable leaving it there. And so I took it to that body shop and I basically explained the situation, and I ended up having pretty much the whole front end of the car redone. So we did this fender, they completely repainted this fender, but I also figured, you know, while it's in here I may as well fix it. Would have loved to paint the whole car, but that was not in the budget, so I just decided to do the front end basically. So we did the fender, we did the hood, and we also replaced the front bumper. I got a brand new one because it wasn't that much more expensive than if they were just going to like recondition and paint it. And also I had those, you know, bumper plugs in the front, so figured, you know what, let's get a new bumper and get rid of those. And so that was cool. And then of course, like I said, I had those three panels done. This fender over here is original, but it still looks pretty good. You know, the rest of the car is a little bit less than perfect, but certainly better than peeling. So it looks really good. When I got the car back, it was not super great in terms of the finish department. Of course, like with a new paint job, you're always going to have some imperfections just with the painting process. And you know, the paint job itself looks good. There aren't any like fish eyes, or there are very few at least. You know, they did a good job with the clear coat and painting the car, but it was still, you know, kind of hazy, had a lot of little micro scratches in it and whatnot. And so I gave it a full month to cure like you're supposed to, like they advised me to. But then after that I ended up taking it to a local tint and detail shop. Sorry, that was weird. But I ended up taking it to a local tint and detail shop after the 30 days to get the car kind of sorted out. And so I had them do a full paint correction on the entire car, not just the front end. I wanted it to, you know, match, and I've had a paint correction done before, but I think I figured it was about time again if I'm having all this other paint work done. So had the whole car paint corrected, and then I also had them install an XPEL Ultimate PPF kit in the front. And you guys can't probably even tell that it's on there right now, and that's one of the things I really like about it. But essentially what we did is we did the front end, and so the hood, you might be able to catch it if the light is right, but the line in the PPF is right about here. And yeah, I mean, honestly, you guys can't even see that. It is so clear. And then of course, so basically about this far up on the hood, and then the corresponding area on the fender. I don't know if you guys might be able, yeah, you can kind of catch it right here. That's the edge of it there. So had that done, and then of course the entire front bumper, the painted area of the front bumper is done as well. So looks really good. Of course Honda paint is really soft, and even, you know, I just paid, you know, several $1,000s to have the front end of this car repainted. And I do take a lot of road trips. I drive from here in California to Phoenix, Arizona quite a bit, a few times a year, with other road trips in between to see family and stuff. So figured, you know what, let's get a PPF kit on there, protect my new paint job from rock chips and other imperfections. So anyways, it looks really good. So I'll just go ahead and take a nice little walk around of the car now. I'm really happy with it. Of course, you know, all of the other imperfections in the paint are still there. It has many touched up spots from the previous owner just neglecting it and not really taking good care of it. But I mean, it does look really good now, especially from a distance. So there's a tree in the way here, but let's go ahead and just walk around that. And going into the back, not many changes back here, haven't really done anything. I'm pretty happy with how this car is set up aesthetically, although I did add a new sticker. We have the cause that I'm very enthusiastic about the Manual Gearbox Preservation Society, so I went ahead and threw one of their stickers on there because, you know, I do enjoy rowing my own gears, and we don't really have enough of that anymore in the car space. But there you have it. Of course, I had to wash the car today to show you guys the paint job and whatnot. Didn't want it to be dirty, but there you have it coming around this side. Again, looks pretty good, and it looks a hell of a lot better without a peeling and touched up front fender there. So really happy with how that came out. And then of course, after I got the car back from PPF, I waited, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks until the next time I wash it, and then I actually picked up some Griot's Garage 3-in-1 ceramic wax, and I waxed the entire car myself. So saved me some money doing that, and that stuff actually works really well. I washed it today and the water just literally fell off the car. It was awesome. And you know, obviously that'll also help protect it from UV to a certain extent and like bird droppings and whatnot. So pretty happy with that. It is like I said, it's a ceramic wax, so it has both like Carnauba typical wax in it, but also ceramic compounds. So my Accord friends that I've talked to about it say that it can last, you know, almost a year. So I'm probably just going to apply it maybe once every 6 months just to keep the paint in good shape now that I have had it fixed. So that's pretty much it on the exterior paint. I know that was pretty long, but it was a big process and it cost me a lot of money, but I absolutely love this car, so there really is not a bridge too far when it comes to taking care of this thing for me. But that's pretty much it for the exterior paint stuff. Let's go ahead and move on under the hood because I have something to talk about under there as well. All right, the wrench has been popped. So if you guys remember in my last video, I was also complaining about some paint stuff under here. I ended up having my intake manifold done up a while back, probably almost a year ago now, by, you know, a company that I'm not going to put on blast or anything, but if you really want to know, you can go into the previous videos where I mentioned it. But basically, I had my intake painted like a wrinkle red with a wrinkle black, and, you know, I also had like a mild port and polish done to it, and the paint literally started peeling off not even 8 months into having the manifold on the car. So that really frustrated me because I paid quite a bit of money to have that done up like that, and I was pretty discouraged about it. And so after, you know, I made this video and mentioned it, I decided to take my old manifold that I still had, which is the one on the car now, and I tried to paint it myself. I had the same problem. The paint didn't stick very well. I guess it's something to do with this magnesium coating on this intake manifold, but tried that, didn't work, and so I ended up taking the manifold to a local powder coating shop in my area and just had it done up right. So as you can see, here it is. This is the stock manifold that was on this car originally. So I took it there. They asked me to split it apart, so I actually had to, you know, take all the bolts out and undo all this Honda bond that holds it together and split it apart. I also took out the you know, the PCV pipe in there and all that good stuff, and I had them powder coat the thing. So they powder coated it for me. It didn't take long. This is just some wax right here, just from having the car detailed and whatnot, and so don't worry about that. But anyways, had it powder coated a nice bright glossy red, typical of, you know, a Honda, and did a gloss black top coat there, and it's been holding up. You know, it's been a couple of months now. Like I said, they did a full thick powder coat on it, and they baked it at 400 degrees. You know, they did it correctly, so pretty happy with it so far. It's held up very well, and obviously the quality of the paint is really good. I'm really happy with the way this looks. You know, it ties in with the oil cap and whatnot, and I'm a sucker for aesthetic things, and so I'm really, you know, really happy that I ended up getting that sorted out. I really don't like the look of peeling crappy paint, so it is what it is. Other than that, nothing really to report under here. This J35 is doing absolutely perfectly. Haven't had any other issues or anything with the car, just been doing regular maintenance to it, and there we have it. So yeah, nothing else to report under here. You may notice this big fuse right here, and that is going to be the transition into our next topic. So let's go ahead and hop in the interior, and then I'll go over that stuff. But that's the update under the hood. New manifold, really like the way it looks. Car is pretty much aesthetically sorted now, so that I'm really happy about that. Alright guys, walking into the interior here, as you can see, aesthetically it looks pretty much the same. Just try to keep it clean, as always. But the other things that I decided to do to the car were some stereo upgrades. So the stock stereo in this car is not bad, you know, by any stretch, you know, at least in my opinion. I'm not an audiophile or anything, but I haven't really had any complaints with this one or the last two 9th gens that I've owned. It sounds fine, but turns out there were a couple of things that didn't end up costing me a lot of money, and it actually ended up making a big difference. So what I'll start with is the front door speakers. So I ended up taking the front factory door speakers out of this car, and I ended up putting in some ELS audio door speakers from a similar year Acura TLX. They're a complete direct drop-in. You only have to just break off some plastic tabs on the speakers on the bottom to get them to fit into these doors, and it doesn't make them loose or anything, don't worry about that. But same factory plug, same all that. The amp in the car will run it, no problem, and they sound quite a bit better. So those speakers, like I said, from a similar model, I think it's 2015 to 2020 Acura TLX. Got those on eBay for less than $100. Took me about 5 minutes or less to get these door panels off and pop them in there, and they definitely sound quite a bit better. So if you guys are looking for a relatively inexpensive upgrade for these 9th gen Accords, then definitely look into that. So I did that. And then the other thing, which is that big fuse in the engine bay, is I ended up putting a subwoofer into the car. So let's go ahead and take a look at that, I suppose. So let me pop the trunk here. And bam, there it is. So I put in a Rockville 8-inch powered subwoofer, low profile, to replace the factory one. So, this is a pretty easy install. My friend Zach, who is actually the one that bought my bought my last 9th gen Accord, he actually kind of talked me into doing this. But there it is. Like I said, it's a 600 watt peak, 150 watt RMS sub there, and I just have it mounted to the back of the trunk there, so it doesn't take up any of my trunk space. And then how I wired it in there is I just used a line out converter to tap into the factory harness for the subwoofer. I still got to zip tie those wires up. I've been slacking on that, but yeah, like I said, simple line out converter, and then of course, it's a powered sub, so it has its own amplifier and whatnot, so pretty easy install. Got that done, and the bass is definitely quite a bit better in this car now. The stock sub is what I would call just barely adequate, so definitely happy with that upgrade. And that really, I think all of that stuff only cost me maybe $200 or $250, so pretty happy with that. Now, obviously, after I put this new sub in the car, we had some rattles in the back, and if you guys are unaware, the rear deck, the rear speaker deck, or the package shelf, or whatever you want to call it, back there, is known to cause issues. Even with the factory system, it's literally just a piece of plastic clipped onto the metal framing back there, and it does rattle quite a bit, even with the stock system. Now, on the stock system in these cars, I've gotten away with just stuffing either some foam, like from Michaels, or some like stuffed socks in the window back there, but once I put this sub in, it was just not happening. So what I ended up doing is I ended up just taking out this complete rear deck back there, and I installed some butyl sound deadening material back there, and that honestly got rid of about 85 to 90% of the rattles, I would say. Of course, with a subwoofer like this, unless you do the entire car, it's not going to completely get rid of the rattles. Like I said, it is a plastic interior, just like any new car now. But it definitely made a huge difference. When I first put the sub in, I couldn't really stand the amount of rattles that I was getting. So doing that sound deadening got rid of the vast majority of it. Of course, there's still certain frequencies where it rattles, but it is what it is, man. There's not much I can do about that. So either way, I'm really happy with how this car stereo sounds now. Of course, I've mentioned this in the past, but this touchscreen Android radio that these cars come with, and you guys asked this in a lot of videos, this is the factory stereo. This did come with the car, and it comes with all 16 or 17 EX and up Accords. So it's not great. This thing lags a lot. Sometimes it crashes. It's running Android Jelly Bean with like really antiquated hardware and whatnot. But it has been behaving itself lately for the most part, but the radio is still a pain point in this car. So that's pretty much it for the stereo stuff. I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, it sounds quite a bit better. I can't demo it because copyright police and all that, but it is what it is. Let me go ahead and start the car up for you guys, and that's gonna pretty much round this video out. All right, so we are currently sitting at 112,073 miles. I believe I was at 110 the last time I did a video on this. So Definitely a little bit below my typical average for this car, but it spent 3 weeks in the body shop, and then, you know, I didn't want to drive it too much after I got it painted until I got the PPF on, so a couple of reasons that I didn't, you know, put a ton of miles on it. But like I said, 112,000 miles, we're doing perfectly fine. This car needed some love when I first got it, as I detailed in like the first or second videos I made on it, but ever since then it's been totally solid, and I'm honestly planning on taking this car to 300,000 someday if I can. It's gonna take probably another 10 or 15 years of driving it, but I'm committed. I absolutely love this car, and I don't want to replace it with anything else. So of course, like I said, the exhaust and everything is still the same. Powertrain wise, we're still the same. Still got the two-step on there and all that ricey Honda stuff, but there you have it, guys. That's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else to say. I think I covered just about everything I wanted to, so there you have it, guys. There she is. So without further ado, I'd like to thank you guys for watching this yet another update video on my Accord here, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.